They all thought I wouldn't make it. They all think that you're faking, but seeing ain't believing. I know now. I take all your stupid, burn it as my fuel, yeah. 'Cause we're running out of time.
Hey guys, welcome back to Insomniac's Dream. Today's video is for the new Joker makeup for Joaquin Phoenix's version, and it was just a ton of fun to do. There's not much to say other than I'm so excited to get into this tutorial, and I hope you guys are down to see how this was brought to life. And if you want to see it, then just keep watching. First thing I started with was my Makeup Forever Color White Cream, and just applied this all over my face directly with a stipple sponge. I found this gave really good coverage, but I did also do an extra little layer in areas that I thought might look a bit thin, and then I made sure to set everything with my Nye Neutral Set Powder. To start the triangles over the eyes, I was using a fine detail brush and my Mehron Paradise paint in Lagoon Blue. I was looking at different reference photos for this, and it seems like one side has a bit of a higher peak than the other, so I was drawing them at different sizes and shapes of triangles, but you of course could do even, they do change a bit throughout the movie, so you have a little bit of leeway here to kind of go with whatever you're feeling. And then for the brows, nose, and mouth, I was using Mehron's paint in Beachberry, which is just an orange base, bright red. And again, just looking at different reference photos, the brows are an awesome little curved teardrop shape. And the nose actually does follow the contours of a nose, so it has those three little peaks on it. And then the mouth is just a very exaggerated, drawn smile over the lips, so it does extend quite a bit of ways from your mouth. In different scenes, it goes even further, and you, of course, can smudge it out with your finger, since it does get messier and messier depending on what scene you are in. And then for me, since I do not have the amazing cheekbones that Joaquin does have, I decided to go ahead and use a gray shadow to kind of contour my cheekbones and hollow them out a bit and try to create a more masculine shape by making sure to blend down and give a really strong jawline. And then I threw a little gray shadow around the eyes since I want to darken them a little bit. Then jumping back to deepening the colors that I had, I went in with a darker blue and a darker red just around the eye area as well as around the mouth and brows. Again, just trying to make a little bit more dimension in those sections. And then to start basing out the suit clothing designs that he is rocking, I went ahead and used my Mehron White to first sketch out where everything went. Clothes are not normally my forte. As you know, I can probably count on one hand how many times I've tried painting clothes before, so this was a really fun adventure in seeing how I could do. But after sketching out where they placed everything, I went ahead and used the same red Beachberry to fill in all around the suit. The vest, I used a color Mango, which is a lot more of a warm orangey base yellow. And then for the collar and shirt that he's wearing underneath, I went ahead and used my Teal paint to fill that in. And I don't fill all the way to the edges of what I've sketched out, so for me it actually really works out well. Since I'm going to be shading along those lines anyways, having the guidelines still in place as I paint is a lot easier. Then to start moving into the shading, I primarily am just using a black eyeshadow. This one is Bulletproof from Sugarpill, but you can use any matte black shadow, it'll totally work here. And I just started adding different shading around the areas that I think would be crinkled fabric, the ones that would have a little bit more texture to them. This again is kind of a game of just looking at reference images, and a lot of it honestly is kind of just placing down a shadow where I think it could work and then blending it out. A lot of it is not even thought out very well, I gotta be honest. But something that does kind of help when painting is to kind of imagine that there is a light source coming from somewhere. So I tend to always do a top-down light source. So I always highlight on the high points of pieces and then let shadow aim downwards, as you can see like under the collar and stuff. A few times I do think I overshadowed, so I just went back with the teal color and actually used it as a way to brighten the collar and re-highlight it. I know it looks lighter here, but it actually is just the exact same teal. It's just because I've added different shades underneath. So I went ahead and did that. I also based out where the buttons will be by adding some shadow first and then putting the teal over top in a circle, which is an easier way to do it. To start shading the vest, I went in with more of a mustard yellow. This is an aqua paint as well, another Paradise paint. And again, just kind of added it to areas where I think shadows would be casting, both from the edges of the suit as well as the collar and any overlapping areas. And then I just blended them outwards and softened them with a slightly damp brush, but a lot more kind of a dry brush technique. And I did carry that exact same technique to the suit itself. This, I'm just using the color red from Mehron since the Beachberry is underneath. The red is a much deeper, almost blue-toned red, so it works really well for shading in this area. And I just carried that over any areas that I thought could use a little bit of extra texture, a little bit of definition, such as the seam lines on the shoulders, around the lapels, and then down the arms themselves. And because I'm a sucker for contrast, I of course followed that with my black. I was using a mix of my black aqua paint and then also using the black shadow. Any areas that I wanted a softer black, I would use shadow, and any areas where I wanted a really deep color, I would jump in with the Paradise paints. And of course, to boost that contrast further, the best thing is to play with lights and darks, so I went ahead and then followed everything with highlighting. I'm actually using the same mango color for highlighting the red that I have on the vest. This because a yellow highlight will be a lot warmer than a white would be. White will kind of turn your reds pink, whereas a yellow keeps it in that warm tonal range. So this, again, I'm kind of just making up where to place all the highlights. Obviously, I'm going to do them on the high points of any of the pieces, such as along the shoulders, along the tops of the seam lines, areas where light would naturally catch, but then I'm also just having fun placing them anywhere I think kind of just looks good. And then for the yellow vest area, I added a bit more shading with a brown eyeshadow. Same kind of steps, and also outlined where I wanted the buttons to go. And for them, I went ahead and added the shading around and then followed over top with a brown aqua color to place out where they would sit. And then I wanted to make sure the buttons did stand out, so I went ahead and outlined all of them with a black and a fine liner brush, and then added just a little bit of shading to them. Some of the final touches was to just go in with my whites and add little highlights to anywhere that I thought would benefit from it. So along the collar and teal sections, along the buttons, on the vest, and again kind of going for all those areas where you want things to look overlapped or higher than each other. You want to add a little bit of white to the opposite side, that way it looks like it is actually raised and catching more light than the sections underneath it. And I did also add a little bit of the white highlighting to the face just because I wanted to match the way I'd painted the shirt and suit a little bit more, so I kind of just wanted it to feel a little bit more cohesive. And last step was for the hair, and because I do not have a wig that would at all work for this, I decided to use my own, just the top layers of my hair, hence why it is very thin, because the rest of mine had to go back into a ponytail, and I just painted it with a green aqua color and made a mess, and then I was done. Alright, and that is it for my Joaquin Phoenix Joker paint. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a ton of fun working on clothing since it is definitely not my forte, but really happy with how it's turned out. So I hope you guys dig it as well. And if you guys have seen the movie, let me know. Did you love it? Did you hate it? I hope you loved it, because I haven't seen it yet as time of filming this, but I'm so freaking excited to go see it. Thank you as always, guys, so much for watching. I, of course, will see you next video. So until then, bye guys.